everyone, and welcome to this Video Sans Frontier video. My name is Jay Whitefield, and today we have a laptop computer that, well, it's a wee bit something special. This is a Toshiba T1910. Now, this machine is very similar to my T1950 CT, except for its specifications. You see, well, I mean, it's from the same series, but whereas the T1950 CT had a lot of nice high-end features, this machine kind of doesn't. See, this machine, I believe, is the budget of is the budget machine of its range, and you know, it definitely shows. And we're away to see that. We're actually away to see an example. Well, we're away to see what that means once we power on the machine. But first, let's take a tour. So on the left hand side, you have a DC in. You have a power button. I believe this is a battery release mechanism. In fact, it should be, actually. And then on the front, you have the battery itself, a floppy disk drive. On the right-hand side, you have a sliding door, which allows you to reveal either the ball mouse that you can attach to the machine, a lot like the one in the T1950 CT, or you can have it reveal to you two PS2 ports, a mouse and a keyboard port. Now this sort of thing, you know, having dedicated keyboard and mouse ports on a laptop really is something that's quite rare, you know, and it's not something that's really been done since. I mean, my old MyTac, you know, you could plug both a keyboard and mouse into it, and I guess you can with other machines too. But my old MyTac had an 80 style DIN connector for the keyboard, and it had the serial port. You basically generally use that for the mouse, which one might argue that yes, you could actually do that on other machines that just have a PS2 mouse and keyboard port. For example, the Toshiba T1910 CT. The PS2 port on that is only for the keyboard. On the right side of the machine, we also see a contrast wheel, which should give you an idea as to what this machine's about. Now, also on the right, you have these port doors, and correctly opened, you see what looks like it should be two PCMCIA slots. But just like the Compaq Armada 110, while there may be enough room for two PC cards, there's actually only the one socket there. You probably might be able to see, you know, there's only one plug. Anyway, let's get round to the back. Now, oh yeah, before I do, there should be a port door for these PS2 ports, and actually, here it is. Unfortunately, this is 90s plastic, which is very flimsy. So when anyone who collects these old laptops will know that, you can make a fun game out of how many port doors are missing on one of these. And I guess on my last couple of machines, I've been quite lucky with port doors being still intact. But, hey, this machine, I have to be honest, isn't in the best of condition, but it does work thereabouts. We'll get on to some of its personality traits in a wee bit. However, behind this missing port door, is a VGA port. Behind this still intact sliding port door, watch, you have an IEEE 1284 parallel printer port and a serial port. There we go. So there we have it. Now, I think at this point it's a good idea to plug this machine back in. I am actually going to plug in the mouse as well, and I'm going to plug in the mouse the right way up. I should probably make that known. And going to plug in the PC card CD-ROM drive, and you'll get to see why a wee bit later. There we go. Right, this machine is all hooked up and ready to go. The battery does not hold a charge. Right. So just like the 1950, quite a small screen. And this is a keyboard. I have cleaned it up a wee bit. I ran a wet wipe over it. And the battery LED is blinking red, which I guess tells me that there's doesn't hold a charge. Now, I have a Microsoft Basic optical mouse plugged into this, because it just happens to be a very good mouse. So let's power on. Make sure the contrast is... So, as you probably guessed already, this machine does feature a super twisted pneumatic display. But it is actually a budget machine. Guess I should probably tell you the specs now. This machine has a 486 SX33 processor, backed up by 4 megs of RAM, although this can be expanded. There is a memory port that I forgot to tell you about. On the right of the machine here, just like there is on the T1950 CT, except that that one is actually populated. There's also a it has 4 megs of memory. Sorry, I said that. It has also got a 200 megabyte hard drive. I've not even played this machine's Joker yet. Would you like to see it? It's got a monochrome display. And if I'm going to be honest, that is why I bought this machine, because it has a monochrome display. Now, it does seem a wee bit odd, but, you know, I really quite fancied, you know, I mean, I do have the IBM PS2 L40SX, which is also a monochrome screen, but, I don't know, I quite fancied this. I like the idea of having a machine that has a monochrome display and a PCMCIA card socket for, you know, connecting a CD-ROM so things are easier to install. Plus, this has got quite a significantly larger hard drive. And I'm scared to use the L40SX just in case it decides it wants to break on me. That would be awful sad. Anyway, this display is VGA, 16 colours. And I say 16 colours, it's 64... This actual display is 64 shades of grey. Let's not make any references to any adult fiction that may or may not be available in both book and movie forms. But if you were to connect this, I mean, I've not done this yet, but I'm pretty sure that if you were to connect this machine up to a VGA monitor, then you would actually get a colour output. And this machine, it kind of reminds me of my old MyTac. I really did quite like that. I saw this machine on eBay and I just thought, I had to get it. I saw at the time it was set to reverse video. Looking at the flying Windows screensaver in reverse video, quite strange. But anyway, there's really not much that I can actually show you with this machine, although I am going to try. Because of the smaller hard drive size and what have you, I've not gone and installed my usual Windows 3.1 utilities. What I have done is to install earlier versions of such. So I'd like to then therefore introduce you to Microsoft Word for Windows version 2.0. This is a version of Word that will only kind of show you a font menu if you have a printer driver installed. So I installed the LaserJet one, LaserJet 4 driver, just because it's a printer I know and respect, believe it or not, despite the fact that the ones at school always used to go wrong. So there we go. I'm not using the correct mouse driver, I admit, because, well, I couldn't find it. So we've got Microsoft Word for Windows. There's Excel for Windows 4.0. And those of you who are wondering what's happened to Word for Windows 3.0 and Word for Windows 4.0 and Word for Windows 5.0, they don't exist. And it's really quite funny how it's really kind of funny how I've ended up in that kind of a situation, because what has happened is Microsoft decided to match up the version number of Word for Windows with that, they decided that, Word 5.5 was the last version for MS-DOS. So, the next version of Word for Windows they decided to call Word 6. Brilliant. So that's kind of confusing. But then again, at the time, they did actually release the first ever version of Windows NT, which inexplicably had the title Windows NT 3.1. Because again, they wanted to match it up with Windows 3.1. So this is a spreadsheet, and it's got all sorts of options like format and data. I'm just wondering if I can actually create a chart in this version. I do wonder actually, because some of the earlier versions of Excel for Windows, you could not actually create a chart. I think with this one though, you can. There's a chart wizard. Oh, yep, chart wizard. And so yeah, you can actually create charts in this version of Excel. Then you've got an old version of Microsoft PowerPoint. Now, some people call these particular versions of, some people have said that having these three versions of Office, particular versions of Word, Excel, and PowerPoint together makes this Office 3.0. In fact, that I've installed this from, a CD I got labelled Office 3.0. Don't think that was an official Microsoft CD. Really don't know much about Office 3.0. But again, it's one of those things that really isn't. Yeah, whereas Office 1 and 2, obviously, I'm not entirely sure actually, even if Office 1 and 2 existed on Mac. Microsoft Office, as we know it, didn't necessarily exist until the 90s, Microsoft Office was Microsoft's way of bundling like their similar Office applications together. Otherwise, you just used to buy the program separately. Like, you'd buy, if you wanted to do spreadsheets, you'd buy Excel. If you wanted to word process, you'd buy Word. If you wanted to do presentations, you'd buy PowerPoint. Anyway, let's have a look. I have this odd group called Microsoft Solution Series. We have Microsoft Works and Microsoft Money. Again, this is an earlier version of Works. It's version 2.0. This runs quite well, actually, because, when I ran Works 3.0 on my Packard Bell, when it was still a 486 SX33 with 4 megs of RAM, it was quite slow, whereas this is actually quite quick. So, there we go. Then we have Microsoft Money 2.0. And it's not much different to my untrained eye than what Microsoft Money 3.0 is. Okay. Oops. So, we've got, even got some games. So, you know what, let's play one of those now. Before I drop down to... There we go, this is the one we want. Tetris. Obviously there's a lot of games that I would never recommend you play on a passive matrix display, much less a monochrome display. But this is one of the ones that I believe you can play. And what you've got to realise is... oh my goodness, I seem to have lost the plot. Okay, maybe this runs a wee bit... Oh yeah, that's the button I wanted. Sorry, I forgot which button it was. But these darker pieces look basically invisible on here. So it's... So I would recommend playing this particular version of Tetris, unless you can actually change it so that it's for a black and white screen. No, it doesn't seem like you can. But there are some games like Minesweeper where you can actually, tell it that you're on a black and white screen. Anyway, I want to drop down to DOS now because I've got some cool stuff to show you. Just going to have a look, see if I've got... There is Works 3 on this machine, but it's actually Works 3 for MS-DOS. Now, this does not have pointer trails enabled, so it's actually really quite difficult for me to see what's going on. But, we can... hopefully, actually have a look at getting this going. Again, you'd need to have a printer driver installed to be able to display fonts on this. But when you're typing, you won't actually get a WYSIWYG interface. if you're wanting that, you actually have to go to print and print preview and preview. Now this will basically show what the document is going to look like when you print it, but you can't actually edit in this mode. Now I'm really struggling now. I probably should switch to using the keyboard. But there you have it. Now, I want to show you how bad playing some games can be on this display. Yeah, there's not enough memory on here, so what I'm going to have to do is I'm actually going to have to restart the machine. I don't have my configuration menu up here at the moment. Right. And I'm glad that's just happened, because this now enables me to talk a wee bit about this machine's faults. There's only a couple of them. But sometimes... Now this screen looks like it's glitched. However, if you were to look closer, you'll find that all the letters are still there. It's just that they've, for some reason, they're all in different colours. I don't know what the deal with that is. I don't know if it's a faulty memory address or what have you, but this only makes itself known in text mode. This is why I installed Works. Well, I mean, I would anyway, but this is why I felt it imperative that Works be installed in graphics mode. Now, this can actually be gotten rid of by just clearing the screen. So typing CLS at the command prompt, and there we go. Now just feast your eyes on that for a moment. Does that not, in black and white, look really neat? Alright, are you ready? Not only do you get the blurring, but you also get... You also get the screen just becomes a sea of grey if you move too quickly. But before you all go on about how ridiculous I am for trying to play a game on a monochrome passive matrix display, first of all, I'm way ahead of you. I know that I'm completely crazy. Second of all, the Nintendo Game Boy, the original one, passive matrix monochrome. But then again, you weren't playing 3D games like this on the original Nintendo, on the Game Boy. I mean, obviously, if you hook this up to a computer monitor at home, you know, you would be absolutely fine with this game. But, yeah. I mean, this is crazy enough as it is, but you'd think that had completely gone off my rocker if I thought that this machine was capable of playing a multimedia CD-ROM. I mean, come on, it's got no sound. I can only get 16 colours in Windows. You know, how on earth would I be able to do it? And the screen is monochrome, so there's absolutely no chance I'll be able to play a multimedia CD-ROM on here, right? Well, why don't we find out? What I'm going to do is I'm going to reboot this machine back into regular DOS. So I'll get the CD-ROM drive. That's it spinning up the new. Ladies and gentlemen, now you probably won't be able to hear this, but there is sound, and it's coming out the PC speaker. I can either have it play square wave music, you know, just like have it go boop 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 boop. I can have it do voices. You see, it is kind of struggling a bit. Did you see that? Did you see that? How long it took? How long it took Kayla to snuggle into bed there? Again, this game can be played quite well on a monochrome and on a passive matrix display. But when you throw monochrome into the mix, it can actually make things quite difficult. So that all the animations appear to work. No, I don't want to go there. No, go in the kitchen. The kitchen. There we go. So it is possible to play this game on a non-multimedia PC, just as long as you have it hooked up to a CD-ROM drive or some other way of getting the Fatty Bear game files. Now, I can't remember. I think it's Alt and Q to quit. Yep. And there we go. So that's that was Fatty Bear on a monochrome Toshiba laptop. It was, it really is quite something. Anyway, I meant to talk to you about a wee bit about the other fault on this machine. The power adapter, it's not extremely loose, but it is a wee bit loose, you know, so it's like if you move it inappropriately. Actually, no, it seems to be working, but yeah, I have had, you know, a couple of times the machine's blobbed off. But, you know, this machine, apart from its, you know, wee quirks, it's not a bad machine, actually. I quite like having, like having a monochrome machine in the fleet. You know, with a sizable hard drive and PCMCIA support. This could run Windows 95 if I wanted it to, but I wouldn't recommend running Windows 95 on a 486 SX33 with only 4 megs of memory. It's not going to do you well. Anyway, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to power this machine down. And that concludes this video. So I hope you've all enjoyed watching this video. If you have, please feel free to subscribe to my channel. Also, please feel free to like my channel on Facebook. In the meantime, thank you for watching, and I hope you all join me for my next video.